We are rolling officially.
That's crazy.
Elias Marginean.
Whatever, man.
How do you pronounce it?
The original way of pronouncing my last name, it's a Romanian last name, and it's Marginean. But like I grew up in Sweden, and people have said my name in 100 different ways.
Marginean.
Yeah, it's alright, but it's not 100%, but it's alright. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we have that in common because this podcast is in English because he's learning Spanish still.
Yeah.
Impressively. Your thing with Spanish is the accent. It's crazy because I think it mixes with the Romanian.
Yeah.
And it just gets very fluent.
Mm.
You have a word issue, like
vocabulary.
yeah, but it's normal, you know. You've never been in Spain or not. You've been to.
I've been to the Canary Islands a couple of times when I was younger, but I've never been in like Spain to take in the culture. When I was in Spain, I was like at a hotel with tourists and stuff. Like I was never.
For me, that's the worst kind of tourism.
Yeah.
I always like
look down upon it.
Really down on people that only goes. I don't mean that.
No.
But
I understand.
It's not that I look down to either, but I don't understand. I could actually understand it, but go on another country and you only stay in the hotel.
Yeah.
That's a bit weird.
I understand that because if I would have went to Spain or wherever, I would like to experience more of the culture.
Yeah.
But you know, when you're young and you're with the family, you're like staying in the hotel because you know you have pool, you have food, you have everything you want, and it's like, you don't really see the reason.
The thing I said earlier that we have in common is our afternames because surnames.
Yeah.
Because when I lived in Norway too, my name is Plasencia, and that's not the most common Norwegian after.
I can imagine, yeah.
But it's not like yours. I think yours is a bit more complicated.
Yeah.
They always called me directly Norli.
Yeah, because that's easier, huh?
And me too, because I had one Norwegian and one Spanish. And now I don't do it. Now especially I am proud of both. But when I lived in Norway, you always try when you were a kid. I was in Norway from 7 to 13, I think, and that's the age you just want friends. You just want to like be with people that people want to be with you. So I always said just a Norwegian.
Yeah.
And that's so dumb. That's so dumb.
In a way.
But now,
you
know, now you don't care. But in the moment, it was like, no, I'm Norli. I was like a bit ashamed of the Spanish. It's so weird how you like try to fit in a really, in a way that you're not yourself. Yeah.
No, and I understand the feeling because me being from Romania, I grew up in Sweden, and I've also never been like 100% Swedish. And I felt this like distance to Swedish people always because their culture and my culture are so different, and it's like when you grow up, you want to become more like them because, as you said, you're at the age you just want to be like accepted by everyone. You want to be liked. You want to be loved. Even you want people to appreciate you, and I think that's the not the issue, but that's the reason why we act the way we act. I think it's normal. I think everyone has to go through that to later realize, okay, I have to start accepting myself and grow as a human.
Yeah, and you think most of the times too, you don't like want to be accepted, just that you also get treated like it's nothing special with you, you know, you're just normal. The thing is, I don't want to be like, no, this Spanish guy. No, I'm just the guy.
Yeah.
I'm just this guy and I'm one more. I think that's in the beginning, a lot of like, in that age, struggle with that. They just want to be like invisible sometimes, because sometimes when you have this, you're Romanian, you're Spanish like me, you're the Spanish. You're not Samuel or Elias. You're just a Spanish guy and trying to be Elias. Sometimes you, as you say, you just want to be normal and have nothing going for you more than you are.
Yeah, it's really true.
But it's in that age too. That's so special.
I think it's at the age where we start to understand, like, more or less who we are. starting to form bonds with people, friendships. We maybe start like having small crushes, like started liking girls, and it's like at the age of we're trying to like build ourselves, even though if you think about it, like even now when I'm 21, I'm still building myself. Like I'm still looking for who I am. Even though like you think you should have it figured out when you're like 13, and it's crazy because
It's really crazy.
you're an infant.
I'm very against that type of like thinking. I don't think you never actually know who you are or what you're here for or what you should do. You find out things that suit you more and things that suit you less.
Yeah.
But to know what you're here for doesn't. I don't know. I find it very strange. I know people think they know it, but I don't know. There's no adventure without uncertainty. I think if everything is certain, you know what. I mean, in some way, I understand when you like in sports, for example, but I don't see this as knowing what you're here for. That's like a thing you're good at and you enjoy doing, and that's, I mean, arguably one of the best ways to live. But I don't think that means that you know certainly that's why you're here. That's like an adventure.
Yeah.
And I find adventures to be, I mean, if we go in very like philosophically in what the meaning of life is, I would say an approach could be do things that are fun in an adventurous way. And by adventure, it's not like I sit playing video games or something like very with dopamine, like really. So think that I don't mean adventure by that. Adventure is doing something sometimes hard, but
that gives
because men too. I mean, I can only speak for men. We sometimes find bigger meaning in difficult things, like physical things, maybe.
Yeah.
And that's strange because it's not easy. I mean, you struggle, but you enjoy it, especially in sports. I mean, I doubt big sports figures love every single bit of the training.
No.
But the training itself, afterwards or during or in so key moments, you feel good. That's maybe the argument of there's no good without bad.
Yeah.
And the bad values the good and otherwise. So I think the point is adventure is the key.
I think you're saying something interesting because if you look at, especially men, we're searching for hard things in order to feel like we're satisfied with ourselves, like we're a productive human being. We want to put ourselves in hard situations because we want to evolve, and I think that's also like just looking at the normal man. We have this like this drive within us. I think this almost shows what our purpose is. Our purpose is maybe to be the person that explores, to be the person that discovers, as you say, the adventurous part. Because, like, just imagine now, 100, 200, 300 years ago, there was people that, like, jumped on a boat and sailed on the other side of the world just to start their life all over again. And just imagine the kind of the kind of mentality you have to have behind it. Like it's almost like I'm gonna put myself through life's biggest adventure, just going somewhere blindly and try to survive basically and do better for myself than the place where I started, because I think that's also the reason why you're going somewhere.
The emigration stuff is crazy because it's such a big part of our history too. And with that, like, courage or that end that you want to have a better life or create a better life. I think the part where you said about men too, or people in general, I think, that we wrestle with our potential. I see that, again, I can only talk for men. I see that very intrinsic in our being, that we always wrestle with our potential. When we feel bad about something, it's because we think, or the majority thinks, that we could have been better at that. We could have done that better. Always that small, like, type of imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
Also,
yeah.
That I don't deserve being here. I should have done better or better. But sometimes too, that gets blinded by other things when you just don't do anything.
Yeah.
Because it's not that, or me or you or any person that always have that drive. One thing is to say that we wrestle with our potential, we should be doing things all the time, but nowadays a lot of days you just do nothing. You just watch some series or read something, but you're not pursuing what you really find meaningful or expedient in something.
It's so true, because you said something about small dopamine like dopamine kicks, and I think those small dopamine kicks, like I don't know, watching a movie or basically unproductive things. These things are almost like we are exchanging, actually doing important stuff for these small dopamine kicks. Like I'm instead of going out and training, I'm sitting home scrolling on TikTok, because it's quick dopamine, and it's like I'm living my life through maybe my phone instead of actual life. And it's the same like with food. We're maybe supposed to, like, just a couple of 100 years ago, us men, we were out hunting, and we caught something, and then we took it home, and then the family ate, and everyone survived. And it was like, it was such a big purpose, and you had such a big pressure on your shoulders, and it was like, and now when you want to go to eat, you're just calling Uber Eats, and it comes to the door, or whatever. Like, it's just,
especially here when we are here.
not here, but just in general. Okay, like back home in Sweden, I'm like, oh, I'm hungry. I'm just 5 minutes, like going to McDonald's or whatever, and it's like, you realize that these small dopamine kicks are keeping you from actually pursuing something that's greater and more important.
Commodity has destroyed our...
Yeah, and I think that's like our, because I'm looking at this through more of a religious lens, and it's like your flesh fighting with your spirit. The flesh wants comfortability, wants like easy things, things to always be at hand, no responsibility, no hardship. And the spirit wants things that are greater than what we see right now and do right now. And I think that's also like the if you look at like life in general, the people that are sacrificing momentary pleasures are the ones that are successful. Basically, a person that says, no, I don't want to go and party, is the person that maybe stays home and works on his craft so he can become successful in, I don't know, whatever. I think that's something you can see in every human that's successful. They sacrifice pleasures, small pleasures. Yeah. And it's really interesting. It's
sacrifice, that's another religious understanding.
Yeah.
So important too. I was thinking about one thing while you were talking, and it's this thing with sacrifice, the flesh. There was something with the flesh. The flesh has come up a lot of times in the Bible, because doesn't that come back to Plato? I think it's called, in the duality between soul and flesh. Some philosophers thought it like separate. I think you're talking about it like in a separate way. Another doesn't distinguish the two. It's like the same thing. And that's very interesting, because in some ways I understand the point, and it's a really graphical picture you can make of it. of the distinction, but also the body. For example, when you have troubles with your mind, or you're thinking about something, or in depression, or those kinds of things nowadays, sometimes the best solution isn't to do something mentally. It's when you're very foggy, you do some exercise, and that helps. So sometimes one phrase I always get in my mind when I talk about this difference is, I think it's what Leonardo da Vinci had said it, that the complete man is he who knows, who understands the art of science and the science of art. That it's all like combined in a like artistic way. I'm beginning to understand things, or trying to see things through that lens. That it's more connected, it's not so, because nowadays everything is separated. School, for example, when you study, before you studied philosophy and you did math, biology, everything. Now you study biology, or like me, I studied anthropology. You study anthropology. I mean, anthropology, in its defense, you do a lot of things because it's more people-oriented, and people are oriented
in many different
ways. But a lot of like subjects in school too. You're just learning this. In a whole different class, you learn this other thing. The big picture, okay, you learn from everything, but you don't see the correlation between them. And I think that's like really important to see the connections in things, the meaning. I think the meaning in the teaching and especially the learning is a key point, because if you don't find it meaningful, you don't, like in a biologically way too. Like you won't remember something you don't attribute meaning to either. You usually remember the crazy things, the crazy good or crazy bad, or crazy meaningful, like the extremes. And if you just read one thing, memorize it, you don't like understand why you're doing it. So a big part would maybe be in the learning period to find the connections between things. Like this tree grows. Yeah, but if the sun doesn't exist, this tree doesn't grow. And like that's a stupid example, but I think many aspects of life has to be seen through various, like in a holistic way.
Exactly. Yeah, of course. And you say an important thought, like something important about looking at things holistic is like that also helps you in perspective, like seeing things through different eyes. Because sometimes, as humans, I've noticed like we usually like we see things only the way we are seeing them, instead of trying to see things how they're actually like seen by others, or by not even others, just how they actually are.
That's a great point.
Like somebody made this chair here, and I'm seeing it and I'm thinking that's a great chair, but the person who made this chair, I'm just thinking like, why did it make it like this? It's just, there's so many different ways of thinking about something, and this is like just a normal chair. Just imagine a concept that's really evolved, like maybe thinking about why life exists, and it's like you think just like your way. Life exists because I don't know what, people that are atheists think it's a big bang, or me who is like a Christian thinks God made us or whatever, and you're like, that's your understanding. And that's why also it's important to always be willing to take in more information, because I think that's a really dangerous trap. People feel like they've learned everything about a topic and you don't want to learn anything more. And I think that's really important. Like you have to always keep on learning, even if it's something you're certain of. Like I'm certain of my religion, but I'm still trying to learn like the truth. Even though I think I know the truth, I still want to find out the truth even more, because there's this truth. Like I can say, Samuel's shirt is like gray and white, but I can also talk about the different designs on it or whatever. And I think this is really important. You can always find out more about the truth. You always have to keep looking for the truth even more. Yeah.
Something I was thinking about too when you were talking is I forgot it.
It happens.
No, but I was just listening. Yeah, perspectives. I saw a podcast once. They were like interviewing how do you call it? Agent, a spy, and he said that your own perspective on things are the most useless because it's only yours.
Yeah.
The rest of the people aren't going to use it.
Yeah.
So to understand things, it's so valuable to use other person's perspectives.
Yeah.
And the thing with learning and being humble enough to learn.
Yeah.
One like subject, or I don't know how to call it in English, but people that are very good at that is people that study physics, because when they write papers on something or they publish them, is usually when they say, okay, I have this idea, I think this, I create some mathematical structure around it and I try to explain it. But before I publish it, I try like to find, okay, what's wrong with this? How is this wrong?
Yeah.
And the moment you can't find, or you yourself can't find how it's wrong, one way of looking at it is, yeah, I publish it with the goal of that another person find it wrong.
Yeah.
I want that.
Yeah. So
and you can call that evolve.
Yeah.
I mean, Einstein, Newton, all of them always like corrected themselves. I mean, Newton nowadays, some of his theories, I wouldn't say wrong because they created the landscape where to build on.
Yeah.
But they've been tested and proven wrong. But it's no difference with proving something wrong than, as you say, evolve. And that's really important because you don't take it personally. It's like, it's this thing, I'm studying it, okay, but it's this thing that's wrong, it's not me. And social science, the problem with them, because I've seen it from inside, is that when you think anything, when you think like ideology-wise, or politically, or economically, it's you, and it isn't you. You're not socialism.
Yeah.
Socialism is socialism. It's a tool of like providing or not, but it's not you. You can find it X way, but it's not you. And the problem is that people think they're them. When you talk bad or disagree about something, you disagree with them in the sort of way you are, but it's not them that's the problem. It's their thinking, and when that gets combined, I don't think it's good. I like more the approach physics.
Yeah.
Or like hard science, if you want to call it like that, because it's the theme. It's not you. It's this that has to be the problem, and you like having problems. That's how you create better questions.
Yeah.
Because that's another thing. I don't find like when you become very smart at something and a subject, I would argue that you don't necessarily get better answers at things. I think that the true ability is to ask better questions about that subject.
Yeah.
I think that's
100%. Yeah.
It's a saying that as more you investigate something, the less you know about it. The more you like look at space or study space, the more.
Yeah.
That's a phrase of Socrates, that I only know that I don't know nothing. I think in English it's like that. And that's like, the more you know, or in that way it's more like I admit not knowing what I don't know. I think it was in an argument the way he said it.
Yeah.
In the, I mean, Plato is who wrote all this.
Yeah.
But I think the thing was he was comparing a philosopher to a politician. A politician has to know everything just to get votes, but a philosopher like admits not knowing admit his limits in an intellectual way. And yeah, I think that's the key: not knowing what you don't know, and that not being a problem.
Yeah. No, you're saying something really, really important. Like even the greatest minds of our generation, and even like historically, they've always left the room for being disproven. And I think that's the key. That's the key of a society that goes forward and not backward. Even an example, like the greatest mind of our generation, Elon Musk. Okay? Like I remember this like clip from an interview where someone is interviewing him about like spaceships or whatever, and he was talking about something about on the spaceship, and then the guy asked us, "So you're not gonna have it on the platform or whatever?"
Yeah, I remember.
And Elon Musk just looked at the thing for 2 seconds, and he was like, "No, but now when you're saying it, maybe we should." And like an interview a couple of years later or whatever, he was like, "Yeah, we implemented it and whatever."
And it improved so much. Yeah.
Exactly. And this is like a really good example of how Elon Musk is Elon Musk. Okay, he is maybe the smartest man in the world right now.
But he's so hated too now.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't understand that.
But
part.
I don't understand that either. But just looking at who he is and what he knows, he's like the smartest person in the world. And like just a normal interviewer is able to open his perspective about something that like not even his engineers, not even has thought about. And it's crazy. Like look at even one of the most knowledgeable people in the world has something to learn from someone that's like no one basically when it comes to the intellectual part.
For being a billionaire, he seems like very grounded.
Yeah, exactly. And that's one thing you have to appreciate, because if he would have had the pride of, how can I say this, like a pride of other ideas not improving his ideas, he would have said no, like just because that guy said this thing, he would have not wanted to implement it, because then it would have been double credited or whatever.
Didn't he do that with like Teslas? That the way he built it's something in relation to that. The way you build it, it's like free. Everyone can use it.
Yeah.
I don't know how to call it.
Yeah.
He published it. He make it public.
Yeah. And I think this is the key. Like you have to understand, if you're a smart human being, if you think you're knowledgeable in one thing, you always have to leave room for someone, even if it's a bum on the streets, even if it's like the highest professor in the category, you still have to leave room for understanding something in a different way. And I think that's when society moves forward and we're people that evolve and not devolve. I think that's really important. And that's basically what you're also saying, like about how you always have to admit of not knowing everything. Like our brain is not capable of knowing everything, even about like one subject. You can't learn everything that there is to know about anything. So you always have to leave room for getting more knowledge, for widening your perspective. That's really important. That's really, really important.
And I think we go back to the flesh part there. I actually, in my second year, I had psychology, social psychology. And we read a lot of articles about how the brain works. And one was really interesting for me because it talks about the memory. And as you say, we don't know everything. And also, one interesting thing I read was the memory, like you're not made for like your flesh.
Yeah.
We're going back to the flesh part. You, as a bit advanced monkey as we are, we are not made, our memory is not made to remember exactly how things happen. For example, you go on a trip and you're not made to remember everything perfect. You're made to remember what makes you survive.
Yeah. Yeah.
Man, that changed my perspective on that completely. Like, it makes so much sense.
Yeah.
Because we're made to survive. We're not made to give seminars.
No.
You know?
Yeah.
We're made to be alive the next week.
Yeah. So we can reproduce and that's like...
Exactly. So our memory, if it has to change some details that makes us more prone to survive, it will do it.
Yeah.
And that like takes us back to who we really are, you know? We think we're reading and we have this blog, we have this like article, and I've done this and this podcast with X person. We're still like, we have that animal in us.
Yeah.
And then we go into like instincts and stuff. And that's such an interesting part of us, our instincts.
Yeah.
Because nowadays, everything is learned. I mean, anthropology too argues that all culture must be learned.
Yeah.
Yes.
Of course.
Okay, that's a way of surviving as a group. Not even to survive as a group, but to distribute things, material things in a group. We need culture. That's a very quick summary. But our instincts too. We're leaving that to the side, and I think they're underestimated.
You know, it's crazy because you're talking about basically how much is environment and how much is like biology and instinct, or what we're born with, basically. Like things that are not taught, but they're from inside of us. And like there's this example of like an Italian child who was adopted by Japanese parents. And you know, in Italy, they're like using a lot of hand gestures when they're talking and a lot of like expression. In Japan, you're like straight talk, like, you know, it's really like
samurai.
Yeah, samurai. And it's like so straightforward, and it's crazy because they saw like this child who was adopted from Italy, grew up in Japan, knew Japanese, never learned any Italian culture, and like when they were speaking, they were still using hands.
That's crazy.
Which actually, like, this is like a question, like, how much is environment and how much is biology? Because, like, me as like a human being, I know that if I would have been adopted by Chinese persons, like, maybe I wouldn't be the same right now, because of course I'm a product of my environment. But what things would still have been inside of me, like if I would have grown up in a different culture?
That's true. We would have arguments here about communism.
Yeah, probably
2 hours
or something.
The whole podcast talking about
just a hard debate about capitalism and.
No, but it's true. Imagine like the Japanese or Italian Japanese guy, when he gets 12, starts making food. He makes the perfect sauce.
Exactly. How much? That's really like, how much is biology and how much is environment? Because
in genetics, in some way, like biology, we understand it as genetics. Yeah, it's very
because genetics is something like, it's so interesting. Even when I think about like my future children, it's like I will start to see things that I'm doing that they also are doing, and I will be like, oh my god, this thing was passed down, and it's like in a way, even thinking about it now makes me like feel, wow, that's crazy. Or if I see like my son has my I don't know, my eyes or my lips or whatever, or my beard, will I feel like, oh, that's so crazy? Like genetics is such an interesting part of biology.
And the way he acts too, because haven't you noticed, especially when you get out of your like we are in Norway now.
Yeah.
You live in Sweden and I live in Spain. And people like Christopher, he says like, you are exactly as your father. And you begin with being a bit hurt.
Yeah, and then
but then like, okay, I could
thinking about it, maybe I
understand it.
Yeah, you know.
But it's crazy, the genetic part. I think it's in how you act too. It has to influence. 100%.
Of course.
But that also is the the wrestling between what you see and what your genetics is. I think that's a big. No, it's very good.
Yes, and you know, one thing is this, like, when I look at my father, I'm like, I'm always thinking about everything. Like, I think, I think you said about something about this, and it's like when we're really young, we see our father as like, he's such
The
a
faces.
hero. Yeah. And then we like, we
first idolize him,
and then we like demonize him,
and
then we understand him.
Yeah.
And I think like when I was demonizing my father, it was more like seeing all the bad things he has and like, oh my god. But now when I'm understanding him, it's not because he made himself more understood. It's because I'm going maybe through the same things he's going through, and I'm reacting in the same way. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's why he's doing the things he's doing. That's why and that like, it's all about us. That's the same thing with perspective. Like, you just get this whole different perspective. I've just been a son my whole life, and I know the second I'm going to become a father, I will start thinking more like a father than a son.
100%.
You know? And he's gonna, I don't know how I will be as a father, but I think the most important part, the most important thing we have to do is like, try at least to take all the good things our fathers did, and like at the same time exclude all the bad things our fathers did.
I think that's very difficult, but what you have is the consequence of being that way to a child.
Yeah.
And also, I think in the understanding phase, for me, for example, I was thinking, I love my grandfather.
Yeah.
I love him.
Yeah.
But man, my father, I can't imagine what he has, like he's been through with him. You know, because it was another time, you know, it was...
Yeah.
Your teacher beat you up.
Yeah.
If your teacher beats you up...
Imagine your father and your mother...
Imagine your teacher touches you, you go to jail 45 years.
Exactly. And back then it was just after lunch, it was normal to get a...
That's changed too, man. Because now every parent takes the side of their son.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I'm the last generation because my father, for example, said to like one of my teachers, or like a bit above the teachers, I remember he said, if you have to hit him, hit him. If you have to hit him, hit him.
It's true. It's so true, man.
And that's, I mean, because teachers nowadays are going crazy.
Yeah.
I understand.
Yeah.
But back in the day, man, it was more...
You know, I worked as a teacher. I was basically a music teacher for my old school because their old teacher, like, she became very sick, and they had to have someone that stepped up, and they called me because they knew I knew music pretty good.
You know,
like
you're really good at piano, man. I was thinking, sorry for interrupting, but I always liked people that knew how to play the piano.
Yeah.
And you're really good at the piano. Maybe I will put a clip of you playing the piano in here, but yeah.
Okay, yeah. Anyway, but the thing is this, like, I was a music teacher and whatever, and it was crazy because the first week at the job, I was just getting accommodated, and like I told my students, this was like 15 years, like they're 15 years old. They're not young children.
Yeah, no, that's not too
15
young.
years old. That's like 3 years from being a grown up. That's pretty. Like next year they can start driving. They can start like, it's just crazy. And I remember I told them like, you have like, they had like this thing. It was like doing a music project, and they had 3 months to do it. And the teachers told me like, they just have this week, and they have to show it to you by the end of the week, this project. And it was this girl was like, I don't know why, I'm not done with it. And I was like, okay, but you have until Friday. If you're not showing me this until Friday, I will not pass you. And she was like, yeah, okay, whatever. She comes home, I don't know what, and then she gets sick. And then she's like on Friday, she called one of her friends who was in school, and her friends came to me and was like, this girl, she can't show it today, but can she show it on Monday? I was like, no. She was like, what do you mean?
You got the power, man.
I was like,
power corrupts you, man.
no, it's not about the power. It's about like
crying over the door.
No, but like I understood like this is a deadline.
Yeah, of course.
Like a deadline is a deadline, because if I let one, I have to let everyone. And it's like, and she was like, no, please, I have to this. And I was like, no, maybe if you show it to me on Monday, I can pass you, but you can't get a grade more than like a passing grade. She was like, I don't know what. She put the phone down, and then after the lesson, a teacher called me like from the, how do I say this? Like the teacher's room, basically.
Yeah, the offices.
Yeah, and then like they called me and they were like, there's a parent who wanted to talk to you on the phone. I was like, okay, whatever. But I was a little bit nervous because I'm the first week at the job.
Yes, first week.
First week
Already cutting people off, man. That's crazy.
And
what did it tell you?
And this mother, she was like, I've just heard that you don't want to give my daughter more than the opportunity to make like a passing grade. Why is that? Can you explain yourself? Can you understand this scenario? A mother calls me to explain myself why deadlines exist. And I was like, I took her really politely. I was like, well, at this school, we work with a concept called deadlines.
1 week, bro. 1 week, 1 month. No, we don't accept this here, man.
I was like, at this school, we work with a concept called deadlines. Do you know what deadlines are? I just put this question to her. And she was like, yeah, I know, but she's only 15 years old. Like, can't you just be more lenient because we're not at like that stage yet where grades are so important? And I was like,
if grades wasn't so important, she
why are
wouldn't
you
have
calling?
told.
Exactly. But basically, in the 9th grade in Sweden, that's when you get the grades to get to high school. And the better grades you are, the better high school you can get into.
Okay.
So it's like, it's still important. But she was like, oh, but why is it so important that she come, like she, whatever. And I tried to explain to like a full-grown woman why turning something late is like a bad thing. And then I was like, okay, listen. What I want you to do is this. I want you to take her computer, okay? Because I don't want her working on this project even like a day more than the other people. And on Monday, I want her to come early to the class, and I will listen to the project. And if she gets a good grade, she can get better than a passing grade. But still, she won't be able to reach like the A+. She was like, okay. But this is like very, very... very interesting, because you say this, like the difference in generations. Because my father is also from this generation when they're like, even if the teacher did something bad or did something unfair, they will still side with the teacher. Why? Because they're a grown human. Like, I'm a small child. Of course they're gonna pick their side. Of course I'm wrong. And that's also for me. Like, if my son and my teacher, like if my teacher calls me about my son or my daughter, like, I'm going to be angry at my son. And then if he explains and if it's something, of course I'll have understanding. But my first instinct is trusting the grown person in the situation, you know. But I think that's also because I think maybe people don't trust each other in the same way.
Maybe because we have moved into like the amount of people you live with is very important to understand how you live.
Yeah.
Because the scenarios we are putting, they were everybody knew each other, off school or in school.
Yeah.
Now, if you live in like a big city, you don't know the people.
No one.
And I can understand. You don't know the teacher.
Yeah.
But if it's the case, like our parents probably, that you know the teacher, you know he's in good hands.
Yeah.
You know he does it through love.
Yeah.
Then I understand. Okay, I can understand it, and he's a child.
Yeah.
He doesn't know better.
Yeah.
But when it's a big city, you don't know anything. Your teacher, like you see now in America, teachers,
Or
No.
crazy. Yeah.
We can leave it at are crazy.
Yeah.
I can understand how a parent would be like. It's a second thought.
Of course. Of course. Of course.
But still.
Of course. Of course. That's just normal. Of course. But that's the thing about community. Like, as you said, maybe like our parents' generation. My parents were both born in Romania, and that was like communist school. Like. But the thing was this: like teachers used to teach for like 45 years straight. And like one teacher had all my father and all his 10 siblings, you know.
That's good.
And that's crazy, like having everyone, like my father's parents already knew the teacher for like 20, 30 years, you know.
Oh, your brother.
Your brother and the other brother and the other brother. And right now today it's not the same. Like teachers are not staying in the same place anymore, and that's maybe understandable, like getting better pay in other places or whatever. But it's just really like when you think about community, how important community actually is. Because back in the day, I still remember like when I was back in like Romania, when I was really young, back in Romania, and I saw like how the community was so tightly, like everyone was so tight, everyone knew each other. So like when I did something wrong, even if I was out in the in the village or whatever in Romania, I was still afraid because everyone knew who I was, you know? Everyone knew who my father was and from which family I was from. So even if I did something to someone, like my parents would know before I came home. And that's that makes you really like, okay, I have to like behave myself, you know? Because there's different kinds of consequences, you know. Like parents should really like, you know, it's just really important, the part of community, and that's something I really hope for my future, like my future house and my future
small community.
Yeah, but a really like a community where everyone knows each other. Like I want to know my children's friends and my children's friends' parents. I want to like be able to sit down with them and just talk normally. I think that's like one of the most beautiful things in the world. Just seeing like, the kids go outside and play, and it's like,
It's such an important part too, because Naval, for example, has the three biggest decisions in your life. It's who you choose as a partner. I think it's these three. What your career is, what you work with, and where you live. And the where you live part is like very tricky because we usually stay at the place we were raised. But that's also like before you didn't have any other choice. But now, where would you live, for example? Would you live where you live in Sweden? Would you move to anywhere?
Yeah. Well, me, like
For
me,
example, yeah.
I think like one thing with like Sweden and all these Nordic countries is that like back in the day, just 20 years ago, 30 years ago, like the risk to benefit, the benefit was so much greater than the risk, you know, like it outweighed the risk so much, and it was like probably the best place to live in the world, the Nordic countries. And now today, when I look at Sweden, it's on a steady decline. Like it's just declining and declining, and everything about Sweden, the pay, the like the crime, everything in Sweden is just becoming worse. And like I understand that's that has many different reasons, but I'm thinking like I'm not tied to Sweden. I don't feel very patriotic about any place in this world. Even though my parents are from Romania, even though I'm born in Sweden, I don't feel like I'm bound to one place. So actually, like thinking about it, I would just move. Like if I really feel like Sweden is a lost case in the future, I would just take my family and move. Of course, I understand it's still a good place to like raise the children and stuff. It's still better than a lot of places in the world. But like when I see like other places, how good they are, maybe I don't know. Maybe I'll probably move. Honestly. What about you? Do you see yourself in Tenerife?
Spain is crazy, you know. I mean, Tenerife, Spain is crazy because, I mean, the immigration part, everyone talks about it. I don't see it that much because it's more like in mainland Spain.
Yeah.
But the immigration part is very complicated thing, you know, because that has existed all our history.
Yeah.
And I talked about this the last podcast, that immigration has changed too, because we began this podcast saying, "No, imagine having to immigrate to another land."
Yeah.
You did it to create a better future,
Yeah.
not to demand a better future.
Exactly.
That's very different.
Exactly.
And I think what's happening in Spain now is the immigrants are demanding.
Yeah.
Or not even demanding. They have expectation, and that's not necessarily their fault. You know, we have created a system where it's easy to just come, don't do anything,
Yeah.
and get a good living. And that doesn't help anyone. Not even them.
Yeah.
I would argue.
It's almost like a spoiled child, you know?
Exactly.
If you just keep on giving them, that's your fault. And when they expect you to give, that's not their fault. Like, when I see a really spoiled child, I'm not even angry at the child, because I understand that's not their fault for them expecting everything when everything has been given to them. If I give, that's just normal. If I give someone water every day, water, and I stop giving the water, they're gonna be thirsty. Like, it's just logical, and that's the same thing. You have to, like,
that's in the Bible, isn't it? When they say, "Why should I give him fish? It would only corrupt them. I should teach them how to fish." Or is it like God says fish on this side? It's something about that. I don't know if I'm correct.
There is this this part in the Bible in Matthew. No, I don't think Matthew. I think it's Mark, where
Mark is crazy.
Mark.
But we love it because we have a colleague, bro.
Called Mark.
First of all, we love Mark.
Yeah, man. Like,
Mark,
I love Mark. He's my favorite
but
colleague.
he's this Estonian crazy guy.
He's like, how can
you explain who Mark is, man?
He's like, he has a ponytail, and he's shaved on the sides. He's like the craziest Russian Estonian man you can ever think of. He's not even a man. He's like outraged, but he's still crazy.
He's not even a human, man.
He's like an alien.
No, but if Mark is listening, I hope he's listening. We love Mark. Like, Mark is one of my favorite people here. But the part that I like about him is so energetic, you know. We compare him with the energy drink.
Yeah, he's like a...
He's literally the human.
You know the energy drink. You know the energy drink in the store that's like crazy, and it's like always in
a lot of
and a lot of things on it, and it's like power, super, extra, mega. That's Mark.
The energy drink that has so much chemicals that keeps you up for like 48 hours. That's Mark.
That's Mark, man. Basically,
a big hug to Mark. Yeah.
The story in Mark is basically about the fish. It's like, just like how you should be trusting God, because Jesus was with, I think it was Peter and Andrew. Those are brothers, and they were like fishing, and they didn't catch anything. And basically, he just said like, throw it this way, and it's like when they took it up, it was filled with fish. And the story is basically just trusting God. But I think that the most important part about like what we were talking about, independence, is when it comes to both immigration and raising a child and whatever, it's about how you also, like, you have to give them both like things and stuff and money and whatever, but you still have to give them like the responsibility of one day them becoming independent, because that's also the big problem in Sweden right now. There are people who lived in Sweden for 20, 30 years and they don't know one word of Swedish. They've never contributed to society. They've only lived on welfare. And that's not how it's supposed to be. Like, if the state invests in you money, that should be an investment that's good. Like, that should be something that in the future, hopefully, you will like become a not a burden to society, but a like good thing for society.
It should be like a 0 to 1.
Exactly.
But it's not 0 to 1.
No, it's just 0.
It's just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah.
I think we can't argue that we have to help those in need.
Yeah.
Only a dumb person would say otherwise.
That we don't need, yeah, of course.
Of course, there are people truly suffering that need a little push.
Yeah.
But man, we're making them walk. We're not pushing them, we're making them walk.
Yeah.
And I say we because the money doesn't create by itself. It has to come from someone.
Yeah. And it's the taxpayers often, like the normal.
I know that sounds cliche, but it is true. I mean, that money, of course, we have to help.
Yeah.
And there are people that comes here because they are suffering where they are.
Yeah.
Of course.
Mm.
But that has to be more complicated than it seems.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know, it can't be, this money goes to there. Like, you have to invest differently, like more tactically.
Of course. You know, I'm just thinking about, like, example, my grandma came to Sweden. Okay, this was like when the communism fell in Romania in '89, and when it fell, it was like everyone just wanted out of Romania because, like in communism, it was just a crazy time for everyone.
Have you heard like a lot of stories?
Of course, like I've heard stories about, especially when it comes to like persecution because of different things. Example, religion and. Like, it was a lot of persecution back in the communist days. And of course, the hungers, not being able to own anything of your own. It was just everyone was poor, basically. And the thing was this, like when the communism fell and the borders were open, because back then it was like always closed, nobody could get out.
But nobody could get out.
People still found ways, like hiding on trains.
But legally?
No, nobody. No one. You couldn't immigrate to any other place. Only like sneaking out of the country and then seeking refugee status or whatever.
Because this is very important, like true stories about people living under communism, not just saying communism is bad.
Exactly.
You're saying that the borders
were closed. No one could get out. No one. That was one crazy thing. And the day the communism fell, people were just going anywhere. Like, people were going to Italy, to Spain, to the US, to Germany, to Sweden, where my family went. And basically what happened was my grandma's brother went to Sweden, and he said, yeah, it's good here. And then they were like, okay, Sweden it is.
Sweden.
And they just jumped on a train, and they were just going through trains through Europe up to Sweden with no money. By the way, like they were just jumping on trains, and when they were caught, they were just like, it's crazy stories my mom told me. Like she was born for 84, and I think that she was like 5 or 6 years old when she got here, when she got to Sweden.
And she came here by train.
Yeah.
How
like they didn't have passports, they didn't have anything. They were just jumping from train to train. It's not that much if you think about Romania to Sweden. Is like you go through Hungary, through I think it's like Czechia, and then through Germany, and then you're basically in Sweden. But it's still a long, like, how can I say this? Like, it took a long time because they didn't have passport, they didn't have money. They were just traveling basically.
But how did they do it? Just like sneaked into train?
Basically,
man,
it's crazy. Like, people were actually like looking for better lives, and when they came to Sweden, they were like, of course, they like in the first part of my mother's life in Sweden, she remembers this. She was living like in the north side of Sweden, like the cold side, and she was like, they were like basically refugees. They were living in refugee camps. It was like the craziest things you can imagine. And
what was that? Can you explain how that was?
You know what's crazy? Back in February, I actually was in this part of Sweden, and I met the woman who helped my mother and all her siblings and their parents to get like to stay in Sweden. Basically, she helped them. She spoke Swedish, and she basically like helped them to get the papers in order to stay in Sweden, like getting refugee status, you know.
Oh.
And this woman, she was like really, really old. And we sat down, we spoke to her, we took her out to eat, and she was just like saying all these stories of how this woman, she was really, really like poor by herself, but she and her
Swedish?
husband, yeah, Swedish woman, but she still helped so many people in order to stay in Sweden. She helped a lot of Romanians, a lot of Africans, a lot of like people who actually needed help, and it was just crazy hearing all the stories. She was a very Christian woman. She was like part of a church, and she used to say like on Sundays they have like a normal car, and my mother, she has, back then she had like 4 siblings and her 2 parents, and what her husband and she used to do was like take the like it was like a minibus and take so many refugees and just fill the bus, like just fill it with people and go to church with them. And at church they got like food and stuff, and like they didn't only get the church part, they also got like the necessity part, the food and everything. And this woman, she was a real gangster. Like she didn't care about things. She really wanted to help people. And her goodness, just thinking about this, okay? Like, of course, when they got the papers and whatever, they started getting welfare because there's just like a lot of things. Like my grandma couldn't work, and my grandfather was a special case. And then they were like just living on welfare, whatever, and they had very little money. Like my mother, she grew up really, really poor in Sweden, and then they moved to the south of Sweden, and they just was there like in the south of Sweden, and they grew up really poor. And then like if you look at everyone's life now, like my mother and all her siblings, like just looking at the type of persons they are, everyone is contributing to society right now. That was the point I was trying to make. Basically how, like immigration happened, okay? And at one point, of course, the state was like, they were paying, like basically giving money to my grandmother and like my mother's family. But just imagine like the return on investment, if you want to call it that way. Like the taxes that all my mother and all my mother's siblings are paying right now, they're like, that was basically an investment, from the Swedish state. But that was only because my mother went to school, she learned Swedish, she went all the way through school, and she became a good, how can I say, like a
citizen.
Like a citizen, exactly. And that's like a really important part that doesn't get included in today's migration to Sweden, because they have no expectations of you anymore. Like no expectation. You can go in like in the south of Sweden is crazy, especially like in Malmö and whatever. It's like one of the places in the world where
How is it in Malmö? Because I think people don't understand how Malmö is now.
Okay, listen, I'm not from Malmö. I'm like 40 minutes from Malmö. But I grew up...
Where? Because Swedish
in Helsingborg.
Helsingborg.
That's like my city. I was actually born in Helsingborg, in the hospital, yeah. So, in Malmö is just like one of the craziest places in the world. Not in Malmö, of course, but in the ghettos outside of Malmö, especially like Rosengård. That's one of the most like known places because Zlatan is from Rosengård. Yeah. And like that's one of the places where if you step in, you don't see any Swedish people. Like you don't see any Swedish people. There's 0 Swedish people. There's only like Arabic people, like Bosnian people, Somali, like every other nationality, but no Swedish people. And like just imagine this, in the schools in Rosengård, it's like we say 20 kids, and just imagine if no one there is Swedish, how much are you getting integrated in the Swedish culture? 0. Okay, you never speak to Swedish people, you never learn the language even. Like usually in Sweden, it's like in the classes, the Arabs are with the Arabs, and the Romanians are with the Romanians.
Like jail.
Yeah, basically jail. It's basically a small gang.
Crazy.
And it's like you never get the interaction. But if you place the same immigrant in a class full of Swedish people, that immigrant will learn the language like this. will become a productive member of society like this. And it's just logical. If you want to integrate someone, you need them to be in an environment where you want to integrate them.
Yeah.
You know, it's just very logical, and that's the biggest problem with Malmö. There's not enough Swedish people for all the immigrants.
And by Swedish people, not necessarily that Swedish people are better than Bosnian people.
No,
but
no.
the Swedish people has more than people. They're the culture.
Yeah, yeah. The Swedish culture, of course. This is not a race issue, okay? This is a culture issue because there are cultures that are better than other cultures. I think that's like
better.
Yeah, better. Like, and I think it's important to like, if I come with my culture to a place who's better, like just
my teachers would kill you right now.
I know. They would say there's no cultures that are superior or whatever.
But yeah, make your point.
But the thing is this: there are cultures that are better. If you look at like the Western idea of like free speech and being able to be free, have religious freedom and whatever, these is principles that are not in every part of the world. This isn't something that's very rare for like Europe and North America and some places else, but like it's very, very rare in the world. And I think it's really important that if you come here, okay, like your country is a broken country because of politics, whatever. But basically, you come with your culture to a place with different culture. The last thing, like the least thing you can do is at least respect the culture. Nobody says you have to become a part of the culture, but at least respect them, okay? Maybe you come from like a very conservative society and you come to a very liberal society. Instead of like, I don't know, shaming women for being in a different way or I don't know what, or thinking, oh my God, this is so wrong and hitting someone in the head for it. You just have to understand that this is the place you're in. And, you know, I can say this because I'm a Romanian immigrant, basically. I'm a second generation immigrant or whatever. But the Swedish person, if they say this, is like, oh my God, you're such a racist. It's crazy.
17 years in jail.
Yeah, actually. And
hate speech.
Yeah.
That's a new thing now.
Yeah. Saying that, but you know, it's so crazy because I can say what you say something right now. Say something. Say, what's your favorite food?
My favorite food is tacos.
That's hate speech, man. That's
so because racist.
Because I love hamburgers, and you say you love tacos, and that's hate speech.
And I'm not Mexican. How can I
you
like
love
tacos if I'm not Mexican?
That's cultural appropriation. That's crazy. But this is basically how hate speech works. People wanting to like incriminate you for saying things that are different from what you believe, and that's crazy.
That's what freedom of speech really is.
Exactly.
I mean, freedom of speech isn't just agreeing on crazy topic.
Yeah.
Freedom of speech is letting someone. I mean, Elon Musk has the best take on this. I think he said that freedom of speech is letting someone you don't like say something you don't like.
Yeah, it's really easy. It's really easy. Thinking about it, it's so logical also because, man, we're 8 billion people in the world. We can't agree on everything, and it's just normal for me to be in a room with someone I don't agree with, but I still don't have to tell them no. You have to believe exactly what I believe. Man, you can have your opinion as long as you don't impose them on me or use violence in order to indoctrinate.
That's another thing.
Whatever.
The way you have the opinion.
Exactly.
The problem. I mean, people think the problem is having a different opinion. No. The problem is how you defend your ideas.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly.
You like get the thing we were talking about earlier. Your idea becomes you.
Yeah.
It's still an idea.
Yeah.
You learned it from somewhere.
Exactly.
It's not that you have to eat.
Mm.
That idea doesn't necessarily gonna make you.
Yeah.
It's like an idea you have. It's a right way, good or wrong.
Yeah.
It's not. It's something you're still learning. You should still be learning. But yeah, it gets so intrinsic. But to go back to Malmö, are these aspects some of the aspects you see in the society there now, that you don't want to integrate, you create another Bosnia in Malmö?
Yeah. Like the thing, that's also like maybe also the thing I love about Malmö.
Yeah, of course, it's a double-edged sword.
Yeah. But I love Malmö because like the culture in Malmö is just hyper culture in every way. Thinking about like you can go in Malmö and you see like just the pride flag and people go around in rainbow clothes, and then you can just walk a couple of 100 meters and there's like someone praying in the like with the mat in front of them. Like it's just the craziest culture. I can't even explain it. Like Malmö is just a different place, okay? And not every place in Malmö, of course. Like if you go in a big city where the stores are at and everything, of course it's just gonna be like a big city. But just like if you think about like going outside of like what's main square, man, it's a crazy place. It's like, as you said, like a small Bosnia, and then a small Somalia, and then a small Iraq, and then a small like people are living in small communities, and it's crazy because they're making Sweden more like the country they ran away from,
It started off, I think this kind of thing started off with Chinatown.
Yeah, Little Italy.
But Chinese people, and now we're getting crazy, but I love Chinese people. They're so like, they are on their own thing,
Yeah.
They don't disturb anything.
No.
Their culture is also very respectful.
Yeah.
And they're doing their thing always with each other. Your kids, either you're like this crazy intellectual or you're gonna work at my store.
Yeah. You're gonna be at the store making food and serving food.
Sweating in the bed.
Yeah, like noodles.
But yeah, that was like very, and for us, Chinatown.
Yeah.
And the Chinese people, oh yes, this is Chinatown. And yeah, it was like a mixed culture there.
Yeah.
But what do you think the difference with that every country has, like its cities, has a Chinatown?
Yeah.
And what you're seeing now?
I think that the main issue is more so like willingness. I don't see the problem of people don't want to get integrated. I think that's the biggest problem. Okay, because I'm trying to explain this in English, and in Swedish I would have explained it much better. But I think it's about like the people are comfortable not leaving the community, and they don't want to integrate. And I think that's the biggest problem, because oftentimes if you look at America, for example, New York, a lot of Italian immigrants went to New York, right? And New Jersey and whatever, and they were put in like small communities because that's where the only place where they fit. Like that's how Little Italy became or whatever. And then like their goal was to become more American, like they became more American. Like now there's like the Italian American culture. Like there's a whole new culture, but it's still like American. Like it still has its base as like speaking English and English food and like American Italian dishes, like it's still
selling drugs, everything.
Exactly. American, okay? I think that's like the main issue of the places in Malmö is like people have maybe been put there because whatever, there's a conflict in Somalia, and then a lot of Somalians come to Sweden, and then it's like, where is the empty apartments? It's there, okay, go there. And the problem is this, the people who are there are not even like putting the effort into becoming anything, like into becoming a part of the society, because they get everything for free.
They don't have the need.
Exactly. Like I know
your parents had the need.
Exactly. That's the thing. And Italians who came to America, they were like the poorest and most discriminated against, and they had this like, I want to become someone. They started like building the Empire State Building and whatever, and they were working
everything.
And they worked
some way or another. They created stuff.
Exactly. And they did this because they wanted to like get like a better life. Okay, they had like a strive for something better, And I think what you're doing in Sweden and especially in Malmö is that you almost make people handicapped, you know, because you're telling them we don't expect anything from you. You don't want anything from you. We just want to give you, and that makes people handicapped basically, because they're only getting. They can sit at home, have like 3 or 4 children. They get like more money because they have children, and then it's like if they would start to work, they will lose money. You know what I mean? Man, this makes the
if
people,
you start to work,
you lose money. I promise.
You know how crazy that is?
That's crazy. If I contribute to society, I'm gonna lose money. Of course, people are staying at home. You're making them want to stay at home. It was actually this like diagram of comparing like an immigrant family where the parents work as like normal jobs. Maybe they have like after income tax, they have like around the 40,000 kroner. That's like 4,000 euros or whatever. And it was the same like in showing a family where the parents immigrated and are on social benefits and have like 3-4 children. They're getting like 4,100 euros. You understand? And it's really, really crazy because you're making people not want to work. And what do you expect? You expect these people to ever become a part of society? Never. Like they will never become a part of society. And that's the problem. Because they're having like small cultural, like just imagine coming to a country and that country not being the country. Just imagine coming to Spain and it feels more like India. Like you're in Spain.
To Barcelona right now.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't even blame the immigrants themselves. You know?
No.
I would 100% blame the structure they come into.
Of course. Of course.
It's very difficult, man, because it's very popular now to take this stance. No, immigrants like criminalize. And
yeah.
I can understand why, because they think that's the problem, but that's not really the problem. You know, we are both from families, or from my father's side, you both parents that came into a country to. Yeah, because your country has to like allow it too. You know, so 50 years ago you guys were in communist country where you didn't you couldn't even leave.
No,
it's still a progress, but you have to factor that in, the consequences of, because it's good. It's a good intention. I get it. You want to help, but the thing you said about children too, you can't. It's easy for us to say also, you know, God knows how I'm gonna be with my children.
Yeah.
You know, it's easy to say no. You have to learn them everything, and when you get to having a child,
you're not gonna.
1,000 things are gonna pop up you didn't expect. Of course, nobody know. I think that's the thing. You understand your parents. Like, I understand you. Nobody told you how to.
Yeah. But you're not gonna be a perfect parent, of course.
But there has to be a good intention and know the consequences of not doing it. I mean, socialism. It gets through it. You know, helping, giving. It apparently is good, but the consequences. It's not that. There have been. I mean, communist countries are a great example. Like, your ideas, and now like changing a bit, subject to more politics. But the same like core principle, when it's not your effort that creates your wealth,
you don't value it.
Yeah.
No, it's true. And you almost take it for granted, you know, because me valuing something is me knowing how hard I had to work in order to get it. That's the same like with everything in life. This phone, I know I had to work, I don't know how much in order to get it. And maybe a relationship, only you know how much you have like sacrificed in order to be with the person. You value things because you've sacrificed for them.
And the 4-year-old Nigerian guy in the mine taking coltan too.
Exact.
You three. That's a crazy
That's crazy.
You know? It's easy to have all this technology, man.
Man, people are sacrificing.
And for what? For 7 cents?
7 cents an hour and maybe a meal? Maybe.
Optional.
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 Oh man, it's crazy. That's really...
We're so lucky.
Yeah, man.
Where you live, we were thinking about where we can move.
Yeah.
But also where we are born.
Yeah.
And who we were born to.
Yeah.
Like your parents sound like very hardworking.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that's so important because, I mean, there's this meme, like, be grateful. It was like, I don't know, remember the percentage. You could have been born in India.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, if you think about it.
Man, and it's so, you're so lucky to, you can move to a better place, but it would be like, this is bad, this is good, and you're here, and you're moving here.
Yeah. Yeah. Instead of going like the whole...
Man, people, like we were talking about the Chinatown and the kids, our clothes.
Yeah.
Like the 4-year-old Chinese guy getting paid
nothing.
2 bowls of rice a week to be doing 17 hours of work every day.
That's crazy.
That has to be taught.
That's crazy. And it's the same thing, man. You just think about perspective because, you know, I'm thinking about this. Like when we're talking about the future, we're always like hoping for something that's like better on in every way. It's like a bigger house, better car, better family, like more family, maybe children. We're thinking about all things that like affect our life. But like when I was in January, I was in Romania. Okay, in Romania it's still really poor in some areas. And I was in this area where it was like the poorest people of Europe. I'm not kidding, like the poorest people in Europe. And they were living amongst trash. It was really cold outside because it was January and it was like, I was just the craziest. I had to get like, the boots, stövlar, how do you say this? Yeah, it's boots. In order to like go there because it was mud up to here. Like it was just crazy. It was, And when you were speaking to these people, you were like, what do you hope for in the future? You asked them, like, what do you hope for? And they were like saying, we just hope for next meal. Like they were just thinking like this small when the world is like this. They were thinking, I just want a meal, or I want my children to have children. Like they're just thinking about these things that we almost, but of course I'm gonna have food next week, or in 3 weeks, or in 7 years. Of course.
That's not my problem. I mean,
you're thinking about all these.
This
things.
guy said this to me.
Yeah. It's like
food.
You think about like also we were talking about this, the difference. Like we usually when we are talking, we're talking about all the macro things, talking about crypto and politics, and we're talking about
don't talk
religion.
Anything about crypto because I'm gonna start like directly the rest of the podcast crying, man.
I have a friend. He's Arabic, and he taught me this word. It's called sabr. Sabr is like patience.
Sabr.
And you need sabr when it comes to crypto, man.
Y cojones. Sabr y cojones.
This is the same. No, but I really, what were we talking about? The poorest people in Europe, and they were just hoping for small things.
Next meal, man. Imagine.
Yeah, and it was really like this. And then, like, of course, it was a missionary work. So basically, we gave them food because this was with my church, and we gave them like packets of food with flour and with things they need basically in order to make food. And it was really weird when I came home and I just like opened my fridge and I took out something that I wanted because I'm just a little bit hungry. And I'm not even hungry, I'm just like a little bit hungry. And then I just went in my hot shower, and then I could just jump in my car and go and meet my friends or whatever. It's just like what I just did right now is like better than 99.9% of their life like would ever be. and that's Europe. Okay, that's like
That's Europe.
the good part. That's the good part of the world. Okay, Europe. That's like even the European Union. You know, it's like Romania is in the Union, so it's like, oh my God, that's like the best of the worst. You know.
Yeah.
Just imagine like other places, India, like as you mentioned before, India being born in the wrong caste, you know, the caste system.
The caste system in India is
It's
crazy. It's actually, I had it like one class, we were talking about it. Man.
It's crazy. Just imagine you being born in like a place, like at a family from a lower caste, and you being treated bad your whole life.
I want to look it up because I want to go through everything, but surely, because explain the caste system.
But basically, there's this like in India, I think many of people know this, but it's like it's very unfair. Like the rich are very rich and the poor are extremely poor, and it's basically because you're born in like the right family. Different families are in different places, like on the caste system, and the argument I think is basically like the different people come from different parts of Brahma, like the god in Hinduism or whatever. And like the lowest caste are from the feet, and like the more upper you go, and the head is like the biggest caste, like the best caste.
I have it here.
Yeah.
I can go through it.
Yeah.
The caste system is a very old social structure in India that divides people into different groups based on their family's background.
Exactly.
These groups are called castes.
Mm-hmm.
The four main. First, I can go from the lowest, like you were talking about.
Yeah.
That's the Shudras. I hope I am saying it correctly. Shudras is like the workers and service providers. Then it's the Vaishyas. That's traders and business people.
Yeah.
That's like on the third.
Yeah.
And then above it, secondly, is the Kshatriyas. Kshatriyas. That's the warriors and the rulers. And then first, we have something to learn about this, is the Brahims. Brahmins. The priests and the teachers.
Yeah.
And it's like people, as you said, were born into the caste.
Yeah.
And the caste often decide the jobs and everything.
Yeah. You couldn't leave the caste. It's like you're destined for this and you can't even like think about moving castes. I think the only example where you can is like if like a man from one caste marries a woman from the lower caste, she would like go up a caste basically. But
it says here that discrimination by caste is illegal in India now.
Yeah,
but
it's illegal, but it still exists.
In real life, caste still affects social attitudes, marriage, and politics in some places.
Of course.
And sure, if we go back in the day, like for example in communists, the old Soviet Union, for example, there were, when you take away a market, a free market, for example, what happens then? That emerges a black market.
Yeah.
Because it's not that people. The easiest example is for example, drugs.
Yeah.
It's a bad example, but it's the easiest to understand. You can put a law saying it's illegal to, for example, smoke weed, and for good reasons it's bad for you. Okay. People that smoke weed are still wanting and still wanting to smoke weed, and it's going to be a market. If it's legal or not, it's going to be there. And someone is going to provide it, and someone is going to buy it. The same happened in the Soviet Union. There wasn't potatoes, for example.
Yeah.
People still need potatoes. And people will still have potatoes in some way.
Yeah.
And the black market emerges. I would like to think that in this caste system, there surely has to be like a Romeo and Juliet.
Of course, that's not even a question. I think not only this is like if you put society in different like if you divide society
in status,
yeah,
in some way.
it's like there's always gonna be people that doesn't like this divide. Always, I think that's something like even in Europe, because in Europe, like a teacher told me this, we maybe will look down on India for having this caste system, but in Europe it was basically the same. It was the farmers, the I don't remember, the priests.
How do you call it? Feudalism? Is it called like
I
this?
I don't know. This is
Yeah, I know the name in Spanish, but
yeah,
feudal.
yeah. Basically,
Kings.
Kings.
Priests are up there.
Yeah, kings, the
noblemen,
yeah,
the knights,
the prince, the
the soldiers,
and then and it was basically the same. Like society was divided, and you couldn't like a farmer couldn't generally become something better. That's just something like this is just how the world looked back in the day.
My teachers talked like Karl Marx.
Yeah,
he's famous for dividing the people also. It's not like that also. My teachers always. I had one teacher who said that if your father is a mechanic, you're probably going to end up a mechanic or something in the same range of status.
Yeah.
Maybe true, but I don't like that type of like understanding of society. I mean, okay, it's a high probability that you become that, but what I was going with this, because I forgot, I was into Marx, for example, his way of structuring society, and I forgot it. Man, I was thinking about so many things at the same time.
I understand. But
we were talking about, we were saying
about Europe and how, and you said this Spanish words for it and whatever, and how.
Yeah, we were talking about how it was structured, like, priests, kings, and it went down. Hierarchy.
Yeah.
Hierarchy.
Yeah, I think
it was always like it.
Yeah.
In some way.
Exactly.
When we were hunter gatherers too.
Yeah.
There was like the leader.
Yeah. And then like the most fertile woman.
The most fertile woman. Thing has changed, man.
Yeah. Like it's really true, because if you think about this, like in our society today, you can be born like like in the lowest caste. Now we're talking like us in the West world. You can be born in like the worst circumstances ever, and still emerge as like the biggest billionaire in the world.
You have the possibility.
Yeah. Have you seen? You know J.D. Vance. You know, like the vice president in the U.S. There's actually like they've made a movie about his life, and I've watched it, and it was really crazy because he grew up with a drug addicted mother, and like his grandmother took care of them. They were on welfare. They were like getting meals from the state. It was like just crazy. Okay, like the poorest of the poor.
I didn't know that.
He grew up in Ohio, and it was like really really bad. And basically what he did, it was like he got in the army. And then when he got out the army, he went to law school in Yale. Like Yale is like a big school. And then it was like just everything happened. And then he became a senator in Ohio. And then he became the vice president. And like his story about going from zero to hero, it's crazy. Like, and that's the reality of the Westworld right now. That's why it's like the best place to be in.
And with the Indian.
Yeah, he has talking about Indians. But it's just think about this. Like, you can actually, like, I've heard this expression before. You can become anything you want, but it's so true.
You have the possibility
to become. Yeah.
You don't have the right.
No.
That's the thing today.
Of course not.
People like expect.
Yeah. They are very entitled, you know.
Entitled is the word.
It's like they feel like just so justified to having success, but you know what? Like you can be born in all the right circumstances, but if you make the wrong decisions, you will not succeed. You can be born in all the wrong circumstances, but if you make all the right choices, you will succeed. And
that's beautiful.
Yeah, that's really.
But it's because it's, of course, it's easier
Yeah.
or harder, but
Yeah.
it still depends on you.
Yeah.
And that's good.
You know what's beautiful? The fact that I can do something about my life. If I don't love my life, I can make sure that I can love my life. It's crazy because I heard this quote once, and it was like, "It's not your fault if you were born in a poor family, but it's your fault if your children are born in a poor family." And of course, this is not for everyone, because some people are actually like the poorest of poor in India or in Brazil or whatever. You can't say this to them. But us who are like in the West world, where opportunities are everywhere, like you can just open up the computer and you can, if you study something enough, you can make money out of it. Like, it's your fault if you don't find a way to make money, or you go work. You come to
look at us.
You come to the North Pole, okay? It's snow up to here, and you're butchering fishes all day.
I dream about salmons.
Yeah, man. I see salmons.
Sometimes I wake up and I swear my dream was driving this, because how do you call it in Sneed? Montacarga. This, I don't know, the devil's name.
The fish transporter.
But like I forgot all the English related.
It's basically like what's it called? Like the not a truck, but like
a truck. We'll call it a
truck. Basically, you just take up pallets of big fish and transport them, and it's
half a ton.
Yeah, it's like
it's not fish.
600 kilos. It's like crazy.
And look at the salmons too.
Yeah.
Fish farms. Crazy topic. That's a crazy topic. First of all, we should start with saying we love other lucks. We love other lucks.
We love people.
Really nice company.
Yeah.
But the company and this particular
industry.
Yeah. Wise. This factory side, beautiful company.
Yeah.
The fish farms and the salmon market. It's crazy.
It's really crazy.
You said to me the other day the percentage of salmon that we eat, which is wild and which is from fish farms.
Yeah, and it's like
how much was it?
It was like 99.999, something like this. It's just a crazy small number of salmon that's like wild salmon, and the rest of it, it's like all grown.
No. I think you confused on saying that. What you're saying is 99.999%
it's
of the salmon we consume.
Yeah, it's farmed.
It's farmed. It's from fish.
Yeah, that's farms. That's what I mean. And you know what's crazy about this? Like, sometimes you may be eating like salmon, okay, like sushi or whatever. I can guarantee that is like farmed fish. I can guarantee, because firstly, if you just look at the salmon, this is just an example. The wild salmon doesn't even look, the meat is not even the same as the salmon that's like, it doesn't have the same fibers, even the color, okay? This is crazy. The color, okay? Fish, like the fish we farm, the salmon we farm, it's not even pink or orange, it's gray. And they add something in the food so that it can turn this color. Like,
man,
the fish
some
food.
of them, they're just so ugly, man.
Yeah.
Some of the fish is like...
They look at you like they would eat you if you were smaller.
Bro, some of the fish are like from Peru, you know?
Yeah.
People...
That's crazy. That's racism.
Bro, I love Peru. Sorry about that. But the jokes aside, the fish are some fish, man.
But you know what's crazy? Like, all the salmons, just think about this. They're like, some salmons are like blue, and they're like blue all over, and some are like green, some are like almost black, and some are all white, and it's like, all salmons are so different, and they're like some
And
of
the
them
mouth, man. It's like a normal salmon would be like this.
yeah.
It's like
One is that like a
it looks like
grandpa.
30% of the salmon have Down syndrome.
Yeah,
or something.
exactly.
It's crazy.
It's crazy. Why are we talking about salmon?
Bad, because it's crazy. We are with them every day.
Yeah, man. You know, when I was in Selected, basically the butcher, like the butchery, like the fish butchery.
The killers.
Yeah, where you kill the fish, you have to drag all the individual fishes in like this machine and put them so that they can like.
One section is okay to explain, because I guess someone is interested in this.
Maybe, yeah.
First, you kill the fish. The fish is whole, but it's dead.
Yeah.
Then you go to a braider.
Yeah.
And it opens up the fish, take out the shit,
the intestines, and the heart, and the lungs, and everything.
and you clean it, and then you send it.
Yeah, and
very summarized.
Yeah, very plainly summarized. But basically, you have to take every fish individually when you're at the like.
Yeah, but when it doesn't fit the scale, you have to do it manually.
Yeah, and the thing is this: like when I remember when I did this, I was just thinking in my head, giving them all names, you know, like all the fishes. I was just thinking, this one looks like I don't know what. This one looks like I was just thinking in my head, because you're there like half an hour, and you just, if you don't have music or anything in your ears, you're thinking in all different directions, because it's very like repetitive motions in the factory.
And they're so big too.
Some of them are really
my first impression was, man, this fish crazy big.
Yeah, it's really big. Like some fishes are actually so big, and some are so small. Like I've seen like salmons that are like this, but they're still like people still want to buy them or whatever. But it's like, it's crazy, because salmon, like I've never understood this industry like how I do now, because I've always took salmon for granted when I was in Sweden. And when I grew up in Sweden, we used to eat salmon and fish in general always, and it was like just something. It's just the salmon. Like
it tastes different now.
Yeah. Now when you're
back in the day, salmon.
This is like
with rice.
Oh, really good.
Now, man.
Like,
and we also bought like this.
Yeah.
Salmon we consume here, for example.
Yeah.
We shouldn't get into details.
No.
but it's different, because you know the process behind it.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly. You know, even like, it's just crazy, because some companies are so big, they send the salmon to us, and you know the difference even in the fish that you get from this company and this company, and you're like, it's just this whole industry has really opened my eyes for how little I actually understand about the food industry in general, because this is just one thing. This is salmon. This is one fish, and it's not even the most consumed fish in the world.
And this is thought about, salmon is like fresh. It's
no.
You're taking
the Norwegian
wild salmon.
It's like
people think we are hiding in the river, like waiting till a salmon pops up, go biting in the ear, take it out, clean it. Oh, for you.
For you, I want this for you.
59 cents for you.
But you know, this is just one thing of one fish. Is like, just imagine cows and pigs and just imagine the chickens, man. The chickens are crazy.
The chickens, since I'm here, I hadn't eaten any chicken. In Spain I ate a lot, but since I'm here, man, I like, God knows what they put in those chickens.
Man, they just fill the... No, it's just crazy. I don't want to...
Norway too, I don't understand. They are obsessed with chicken and pigs.
Yeah, pork.
There are so many cows here. And if you get something related to cow that is not köttägg,
yeah,
that's like how is it
called?
Ground meat.
Yeah.
Either you buy ground meat, or your children doesn't eat in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Because if you're gonna buy like entrecôte or something,
yeah, you're gonna.
That's the entrecôte.
That's like $100 just.
Yeah. And there are so many cows, you know. I don't understand.
I think it's just like I think it's a lot of the culture thing, you know. Like in some cultures, it's just more common to eat certain type of animals. I think it's just this. Like in Romania, like we usually joke around. In Romania, the pig is a holy animal, you know,
Yeah.
because everything is with pig. Like even if you eat like cow, it's like still mixed with the pig, you know. You still like to get the flavor. Like the pig, you eat pig in everything, the pork. And I don't know why. Like me personally, I'm not really all that for pork.
Me neither.
Like I could go my whole life without eating pork. But
I wish I could. I mean,
Yeah.
I think if you buy pork, it's like because it's cheaper.
Yeah, exactly. But it's like I don't really like I don't like it that way. Like I think it's all right. I don't like it. I would much rather like eat a chicken or or beef. Like beef is really really good. Beef, some beef, and I would eat some beef every day of the week. So yeah, it's different, you know. In difference, I think that's the thing in cultures, you know. In Romanian culture, the pig is holy, like you eat it every time. Yeah.
It's so weird because, for example, we're talking about India. The cows in India are
Or holy, yeah.
And my first year, we got into this in the school. And you say why? Because in India there are people starving.
Yeah.
But they don't eat
You
the
don't
cow.
eat the cow.
And I was thinking, why?
This
It ends up being because not only religious, but the cow offers you more being alive than dead because it works the farms and everything.
Yeah.
And they say when they get old, they end up eating it. So you know how religious
Yeah.
But it's very curious, man. Food is so important too. If I'm honest, I see myself like making it in this world would be like me in some forest, not too cold. It's nice to have snow, but
tropical forest.
Man, I have 2 socks on me right now. Each foot. It's crazy, man.
You're
I never washed so much clothes in my life.
This is crazy.
Too much clothes. But some like forest where I can hunt. And like me making it in this life is what I eat is what I hunt. That would be so good.
Then you have to live somewhere that's pretty far away from the city.
Gladly.
You know, I'm thinking when I'm thinking about my future. Of course, you want a place where you can just go and just be away from everything. But I still like the urban.
That's true.
You know,
that's true.
Like being in not in the city, but like
we are social creatures.
Exactly. I don't want to like have a heart attack and people finding out after 6 months. You know that I'm.
And you dying with a knife in your mouth.
Yeah, exactly. Like, like I want people. As I said, like the community part, and I understand that the community often is in a place where there's a lot of people, and like you understand. So, I would much rather live in something like this. You know,
in a city?
Not in a city, but like right outside or
a village.
Yeah, something like this. Like
I see myself also in a village, not like alone in the mountain with just eagles.
And also like close to an airport, I think also because this is like
that's very practical.
Because if you want to go somewhere, I just want to like take a half an hour drive to the airport and just go somewhere. Like
in Sweden, where you live, how much is it from an airport?
The closest airport is around 1 hour away. But there's like the one in Malmö, and then there's one in Copenhagen. In Copenhagen, you can travel to everywhere in the world. In Malmö, you can travel like very short distances, but it's still really practical.
1 hour.
Yeah, 1 hour.
Tenerife for me also 40 minutes.
Yeah.
In Norway,
4.5 hours.
Man, where my family lives.
Yeah.
To take a plane going, for example, somewhere that isn't inside of Norway.
Yeah.
To Oslo, to the capital. 6 to 8 hours.
Yeah.
Man,
that's
6
crazy.
to 8 hours.
You spend more on the way to the plane than on the actual plane.
That's too much.
That's
going around Tenerife, where I'm from, 7 times.
Yeah. No, it's crazy.
Around.
It's crazy. I think you have to have a couple of things close to you, like a what's called like a store where you can buy the everyday things.
Would be nice with the store.
Exactly, but also like a mall or something, not close to you, but still like close enough to where if I have to buy something quickly, like a shirt or something, I can just go to the mall and buy something. An airport would be nice. And now when I'm saying all these things, I realize I would probably live close to a city, you know, because all these
Uber
things.
Eats.
Nah, I've never ordered on Uber Eats, but never ordered to the door.
It's much more expensive than you think.
Of course. But some people think it's practical because their time is more valuable than going out and.
Yeah, that's maybe. That's the same amount of people that there are salmon swine.
Yeah,
I would say.
Exactly. The majority, I don't think should be.
We are farmed.
Yeah, we are
farmed.
We're really farmed. No. Anyway, but thank you for having me on this podcast.
Yes.
I have to get going.
My pleasure.
But I hope we will make more episodes.
This should be the first of.
Yeah.
Probably, man.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Bye,
Bye,
guys.
guys.
So much. Bye.